You are watching Wealthy Brains, and now let's get in the video. David Morgan is a widely recognized analyst in the precious metals industry and consults for hedge funds, high net worth investors, mining companies, depositories, and bullion dealers. He is the publisher of the Morgan Report, a world-class publication designed to build and rescue wealth. He is the author of the Silver Manifesto and a featured speaker at investment conferences worldwide. His ideas are expressed in the movie Four Horsemen film, a feature documentary. He has interviewed the Wall Street Journal, Futures Magazine, Investing Rules Book, and numerous other publications. Additionally, he provides the public with a tremendous amount of information. David is a macroeconomist, educating people about honest money and the benefits of a sound financial system. After briefly crossing the US $30 per ounce threshold earlier this week, the silver price has pulled back and was trading at about US $26.50 as of late Thursday. That's February 4th of 2021. The white metal experienced a surge of attention last week as reports rolled in that members of Reddit's Wall Street Bets forum wanted to squeeze the silver market like they have for GameStop. Wall Street Bets users have since distanced themselves from silver, calling it a distraction from GameStop. Speaking to the Investing News Network, David Morgan, publisher of the Morgan Report, said that right now, the silver price doesn't reflect what's happening in the market. It's acting like it's the most ho-hum, boring market that you'd ever want to talk about, but that doesn't reflect what's going on. Let me be crystal clear about that, he said. Morgan explained that there's been strong demand for physical silver over the last week or so, with retail dealers in North America essentially sold out. Silver exchange traded funds have seen major inflows. He said those high levels of demand aren't having a sustained impact on silver because the paper market is in the driver's seat. If the physical market starts to take control of the price, then you could see where there's some pain inflicted on someone that's promised to deliver but can't. That was noted by Morgan. Whether that happens remains to be seen. Morgan said he could see a silver squeeze occurring, but doesn't think it would last. I think a lot of people will be happy taking their fiat funny money, he said. He still believes in triple-digit silver, but thinks it's unlikely we'll see that this year. He's sticking to his US $40 prediction, which he made before all the GameStop activity began. There's still a lot to be seen. I think it's a lot more bullish than the price shows right now. I wouldn't be surprised if a week from now or the end of this month we see a much different price in silver. But silver has surprised even me, so we'll see, Morgan concluded. When you have a big resistance or a big support level and they are taken out, it usually takes 3 times as a minimum. So we stalled at US $50 in 1980, we stalled at US $50 in 2011. The next time through will be the third time, and I'm pretty certain that the US $50 will be taken out, Morgan explained. Silver might get stuck there for a while, but ultimately he believes that triple-digit silver is in the cards, though exactly how high it could go is hard to say right now. Overall, Morgan believes that silver is the more compelling story than gold at the moment, but he emphasized that precious metals as a whole are currently well positioned. We are at the beginning of the biggest, most unbelievable run in the metals, I think, he said. I know the amount of fiat that's been produced, and I know that people are catching on, and that's the main thing. For those of us who survive financially, I think the precious metals will lead the way. Why the Silver Bull Run is Inevitable by David Morgan. In the late 1990s, on the cusp of the turn of the millennium, legendary investor Warren Buffett made a big move. He purchased roughly 130 million troy ounces of silver, primarily bought off the COMEX at a price around $5 an ounce. Now it is public knowledge that Buffett is a value investor, targeting assets that he believes are trading for less than their intrinsic value. The media covered this move, of course. Forbes magazine did a focus piece on the silver market featuring a chart of the inflation-adjusted price of silver along the years. Below, you can see the chart for yourself. What this chart reveals is that Buffett was buying silver at its lowest price in recorded history. With this, people began to wake up to the undervalued safe haven. While the data only covers until the year 1998, if this analysis were continued to include the last 2 decades, you could see that silver on an inflation-adjusted basis has already reached the $1,000 an ounce mark. Moreover, if this chart was replicated today, you would see that silver is now nearly as cheap as it was when Buffett bought it. Timing is everything, especially in a fast-moving market like the silver market, where 90% of the move comes in the last 10% of the time. An ounce of silver remains an ounce of silver. The only thing that changes is the price attached to it and its value as a consequence. Years of studying precious metals has fortified the fact that silver and gold preserve wealth in the long term, whereas you hold these metals for decades and they maintain the same purchasing power throughout. There are times where they will overshoot in value substantially. What is becoming clearer is that we are currently approaching one of those times as a currency crisis begins to unfold. Everything is now lining up for asymmetric gains to materialize, silver particularly more than gold. We'll likely see these gains for a number of reasons. As an asset with a value that has been so misrepresented over the years as an affordable asset, and as silver awareness and education continues to rise, the thing about silver and gold is that you don't need a brokerage account, you don't need a counterparty in big cities. There are dealers available in your immediate radius where you trade, and you can trade your fiat for real wealth. If you are more rural, there is the internet. It's important to stress the long term when investing in these assets. However, obtaining silver this week and expecting it to be much higher next week is short-sighted. The best way to approach this market is with a long-term mindset, becoming a stacker. Purchase small amounts of silver continuously, and when it starts to accelerate, reevaluate your goals. Even if you buy silver at a new high, it will go higher once we break the current trading range. That's just how markets work. With the rise of digital currencies, it is worth noting something here. With only 21 million Bitcoin that can be mined in total, comparing the supply of Bitcoin with the supply of silver is an interesting contrast. There are only 2 million 1,000 ounce bars of silver, the commercial bars upon which the silver market is determined, so there are 1/10 as what a Bitcoin is worth. So there are 1/10 as many silver commercial bars as there are Bitcoin, yet they're only worth roughly half of what a Bitcoin is worth. Bitcoin is in the ether, an intangible asset, whereas silver is an integral component in many of the devices that fuel our modern lives. Think about that. Let us end with a deep dive into the industrial demand of silver. 2 decades ago, 35% of the silver market was industrial demand, roughly 1/3 of the entire market. Today, industrial demand accounts for half of the silver market. Silver remains a crucial part of the devices that fuel the digital age, and in theory, there are some innovations that could completely wipe out the silver market. If the world were to switch over to solar power, even though solar panels only use an incremental amount of silver, the silver supply would be under real threat. With the world embracing the green energy paradigm, this isn't a scenario that seems too far off. These are just some of the concepts I covered in my recent interview with the early stage investor. This is all for today. If you enjoyed the video, then leave a like, and if you are new, then do not forget to subscribe. See you till the next video, and thank you for watching.